It's that time again.
Watch out!
Here it comes.
Watch out!
Here it comes.
Watch out!
Here it comes.
Welcome to the Courtside Podcast. I'm your host, Wayno, and with me, the People's Champ, Vince. Welcome back to the show.
Thrilling to be back with you.
Thrilling.
What shade of what hue did your face turn then?
Well, I don't have a mirror in front of me, so I can't tell you that. Interesting.
I'm tipping purple.
Speaking of purple, I don't know what that means. Let's jump to Sydney's second richest man, Stu Benson.
The segue from hell. White, bleed, purple, and gold. Fucking what?
I have no idea.
Rest assured, with that introduction, for the rest of the podcast, I guess I'm going to take it personal.
That's fair. That's only thing
If
fair.
I've learned anything from The Last Dance and our break since recording, after watching all 10 episodes, it's that if ever I want any motivation for anything good in my life, like MJ, I guess I got to take it personal.
That is correct.
Good-
Man,
good advice.
what a year we're having. I can't believe this is unheard of this season. Tricky show tonight. Tricky show. I didn't know if we were going to record. I have a bunch of mixed feelings about what's going on right now, as I'm sure everyone does, and uncertainty. And I think for the longest time, we've have definitely kept this show pretty political free. I think it's... I don't know. I think it would be ignorant of us not to address what's going on right now and the effect it's having on the league. We've always kept this show about the game, about the spirit of the game, and tried to keep politics to the side. And the page itself was a really safe space for us. So I don't have any answers. I suppose that's the biggest thing I have. The basketball fan in me really wants the season back. Like, I just miss NBA basketball. But as a kid that grew up down the South Coast, a little town called Old Bay, who grew up idolizing African American players and players from all over the world, like, it's hard not to... it's definitely hard not to sympathise with what's going on right now. And... I don't think I can even fully understand what they're going through, but I know that what's going on right now is a lot deeper than basketball. Hundreds of years of oppression isn't going to fix itself in a few months. So I don't know if cancelling the season is the right answer, but I can certainly understand the sentiment and where everyone's coming from. Maybe change starts with awareness and education. I think it at least starts with accountability, and accountability with officers of the law. They're there to serve and protect. They're not above their badge. But again, it's deeper than that as well. Like, there's so many different elements that's gone into what's happening right now, and I think we just hit a boiling point, and kind of fair enough. We all have those crazy uncles that say the wildest things at gatherings and family events, but maybe it's time we pull them up on that now. Maybe it's time that we do tell them to stop. I know my dad was way more accepting than his father, and I think one of the things my dad put onto me that I passed on to my kids, it's that age-old saying that maybe kind of lost on a few people now. It's that, treat all others the way you wish to be treated. And I think it's pretty simple, but it's like something that was instilled in me from very, very young. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know, as far as being ignorant to the situation and stuff like that, I suppose in one sense I am, with, probably more than I choose to admit. I mean, I don't know, I think everyone could probably say, you know, how many times have we seen like police brutality and injustice on the internet? And you know, I think we've all, definitely hit a point there where I was just so sick of it and seeing it, you know, from the US. And I know we're not excused here in Australia from it, but I myself can definitely admit that there's definitely times where I'm just like, you know, I just can't watch this stuff anymore, and I flick past it, or I scroll past it, or I switch off my phone, or I close my laptop, you know, because I just don't want to have to deal with it. But, you know, like I said at the top of the show, I don't have answers. Maybe this is the only way that we get change, that we get the change that we want. I've never lived for a revolution, but maybe this is it. Maybe this is the time, and maybe if the players, I can totally understand where they're coming from. I can understand both sides of the argument. I won't hold any personal grudge myself against any player that chooses to sit if they do bring the season back or they don't. And I hope the players don't turn on each other. I feel like we're starting to see it a little bit, but if this is the only way that they can get some sort of change, then I just can't help but support it.
It's a tricky one, and like you say, we don't have the answers. I'm just a simple Italian boy living in the sticks. Like you, Wayne, I just grew up idolising these guys. And a bit like you, I switched off the news, stopped reading the news. It's just too depressing to see what's going on. But I will say I never thought I'd agree with Austin Rivers. But I do like what he said. NBA basketball is predominantly African American, and a lot of their audience is as well. He goes on to say, us providing entertainment and hope for kids is important. Also keeping some kids indoors and watching basketball games on TV instead of maybe going out and getting into trouble. But again, I can see the other side of the coin as well. So I just don't know. I haven't got the answers, mate. On the one hand, I want it to come back. I think it'd help. I think there's many ways they can try and make change. I just don't know. I can't even predict what's going to happen. I've got a funny feeling that it won't go ahead.
Stu?
Yeah, it's tough. I think if we step away from basketball and we just, you know, we have to say first and foremost, you know, three white dudes on the other side of the planet. We don't get it. We'll never get it. But we can empathise, and we can try and be part of a solution in a small way that, you know, like a pebble in a pool. Like it will create a ripple, and it might be a ripple that's, you know, felt in our lifetime, or it might take generational shifts. But I mean, you know, something has to happen, and this was the straw that broke a back that had been struggling and holding and just trying for hundreds and hundreds of years. And you know, no one deserves to be, you know, publicly executed like George Floyd was. I think the NBA community, obviously, by one degree of separation, a little bit more affected than other leagues, in the sense that that was Stephen Jackson's childhood friend. Everyone called them twins and brothers, and that was, you know, and Captain Jack is still a huge figure in our sport. And again, through that one degree of separation, it has had a big effect on the league. I think, regardless of what happens moving forward, short term, long term, I think the goal of a lot of the people on the African American side of the equation who want to see more ownership and more management and more coaching staff, I think the only way that happens is through empowerment and continuation of the league. You know, there's no secret in America that there is a hierarchy of rich aristocracy and old money. And old money will get you, you know, so far. And you know, it controls entertainment, it controls television, and a lot of that old money is still in the franchise ownership and the stadium ownership and the television broadcast ownership. But I'll tell you what, the empowerment of the black athlete to become the black business owner and to become the black community leader, like we're seeing what Kobe was doing with his Mamba Academy, what Michael Jordan does in giving back to the community, and what LeBron's doing with his colleges and his scholarships. Yeah. That's generational change. That, like it or not, is born from the opportunities which are coming from the league. I think a lot of good comes from the league, both in America and internationally as well. They've got the NBA Cares Foundation, they've got the NBA Kids Foundation, and these players, make more in a very short career than they would in 100 lifetimes of any other situation were they born into any other country in any other gene pool. I mean, let's not disregard the fact that they work extremely hard. Just because you're 6'6", it's not an automatic meal ticket. You've got to work your ass off. But I think America needs to heal, and I think that sports and arts and movies and entertainment is a way of healing and bringing people together. And like Austin Rivers said, keeping people off the street, keeping them engaged, and showing them and igniting their passions. But I just think that they can play a really critical part in that healing. And so, look, I can't begrudge anybody wanting to sit out, as you guys have both said, but I think they play an important role. And I think that change starts with the individual, and there's a collective of, I guess, between players, staff, management. There's a pulse there of thousands of individuals who can help start that change. So I like Mike Wilburn said, like, they've got a platform and they've got a voice, and they're going to have cameras following them. I think that they should seize it, and I think they should continue their fight and continue their plight and champion it. But I think it'd be remiss of them to not do whatever they can to play a role in the healing of America. And their great sport and their great community is poised to do great things. So I personally, I want to see basketball back again, and I think it'll be good for America. But if they don't want to play, I would not begrudge them for a second.
Yeah, I think it's more to, like, I don't for one instant think the players don't want to play. I think it's more to the point of that they don't want. I mean, look, it's kind of that thing I hear people say online all the time, especially from, we are obviously outside looking in, being in Australia, so I'm reading a lot of the comments from people in the US, and everyone wants things to go back to normal, but I'm like, normal wasn't working. That's why you're at where you are now. The thing I think with the players is, and look, I think the NBA is by far the best professional sports league in the world as far as, like, money these players will be able to make, the platforms. I think they have a lot of leeway as far as, like, Adam Silver, like, lets the players have their own voice. But I think the players, the concern it would be, I think, going back to play, that it would undo or overshadow, or they don't want what's happening now to be forgotten if they go back and play. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I think there's that.
Yeah, and there is still an element of resentment through a few players, and Kyrie's one of them, that we've heard that there's this, and I hate talking about it because, again, I'm a white dude on the other side of the planet. I cannot empathise. I can only apologise, and I can only sympathise. But this plantation mentality, and it keeps getting mentioned, the word plantation, to me that is horrible, a horrible page of history. But it's this us versus them. It's this white owner, black entertainment, and I hate hearing that because these guys, no one forces them to sign a contract. No one forces them to play basketball. They get paid hundreds of millions of dollars in endorsements. It's not like, and I get it, the NCAA was a cash cow off the back of people's likenesses and rights and their surnames on jerseys. And that, to me, was a form of exploitation. I get that. But you're in the big leagues, and I if you want to change that and you want more black owners in the sport and more black coaches and more black assistant coaches, I genuinely think that America and the world is moving to a point where you get hired because of your pedigree, your skill, and your talent. And this money that's flowing through the league right now to these players who are becoming far more business savvy than they ever have been before. I'm telling you, give it a couple of years, give it a decade, give it a couple of decades, and you will have a balance of ownership. You will have a balance of coaching. And as you said, Wayne, in terms of modelling for leagues in the world, the NBA leads the field, and I would trust that somebody like Adam Silver is only going to make it better and wants to.
Yeah, I mean, I highly praise Silver since he's taken over the job from David Stern. But I did wish he would have acted a little bit quicker. I'm sure on his end of things, it was probably important to get everything right before he make any official announcements and things like that. But I thought that maybe the NBA needed to do a little bit better job of just clarifying things. I mean, it's tricky as well because, on the back end of all this is we've all been dealing with COVID-19. Do you know what I mean? So, there is this pent-up frustration. Everyone's frustrated from COVID. Everyone. So, everyone's ready to boil as it was. And then, we have tipping points and stuff that, let's face it, should have been addressed. But, yeah.
I don't know if Mr. Nick Jungfer is listening, but he certainly went to town on Basketball Australia for their stance or lack thereof today. Did you guys see that?
I actually shot him a message after I read it. I just sort of said to him, look, man, I know we haven't chatted for a while, but really impressed with that post. And I thought it spoke volumes. So, a tip of the cap to him for it.
What's his beef with Basketball Australia? I haven't kept up with what's going on there. I don't know why I don't hear from them. Not hear from them, but see what they've
I think that was
doing or not doing.
That's the point, though. That was the point of the post, right, Stu?
Look, apparently they've just now, so I guess the allegation is 3 months into, what has been a global pandemic and then 3 weeks into what is racially charged, division over in the States. And you've got a league which is anchored by imports and some of its stars are, either Somali or they're black or they're African-American. And yet the NBL hasn't, I guess, made any formal statement on solidarity in I guess, essentially, you call it what it is, but in their product. Their product is imports and predominantly our stars are of African-American descent. So Basketball Forever, Nick, on behalf of the Basketball Forever page, basically called them out on their lack of response. So Basketball Australia wrote something today, and so Basketball Forever, the page, called them out on it, I guess sort of saying, why did it take this long?
Yeah, 3 weeks too late.
I haven't checked whether or not Basketball Forever did any similar post. If you talk about social media reach, Basketball Australia has 100,000 followers. Basketball Forever has 3.1 million. So I believe 3.098 of those people live in Manila. However, not a dig, it's just a joke. It's funny. If you jump into the comments,
if you're on the page, you'll understand, yeah.
If you go to the page in the Basketball Forever and you write, anybody here from Manila, your comment will skyrocket and you'll get 8 million likes.
You'll start trending. You'll start trending instantly.
You will actually start trending, and yeah, exactly. So, but however, I'm just curious as to whether or not Basketball Forever actually 3 weeks ago made a statement in solidarity, because those same people are also their product as well. So I'd be curious to see if there's any irony in the post, but it was pretty stern. It was a bit of a call out, and I know that Basketball Forever did some collabs with the league when the league was doing their cross promotion and their the games in the States when the Kings were playing. Who was playing? I think the Kings were playing did the Kings play the Jazz? And
I think they played the Jazz,
yeah.
So when all that was happening, Basketball Forever were in official capacity doing the announcements and the cross promotion.
Wow.
So I don't know if there's been a falling out there either.
Interesting. The politics continue.
Yeah, Yes. If there's one thing that has been happening over COVID, and of course the lack of the league, is just the conspiracy theories and the banter and the arguments online, particularly in some of the basketball pages. It's quite funny, will this championship have an asterisk, and can you really be the rookie of the year this season? There's a lot of things that are going to be up in the air at the end of this season.
As long as that championship comes with as long as that asterisk comes with a championship ring that says Lakers on it, I couldn't give a stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think this, if the season does, I mean, look, I don't want to excuse anything we've just spoken about. Like, it's definitely not forgotten. It's definitely pretty heavy in the back of our minds. But I do want to. I mean, we're a podcast. I do want to kind of make this a little bit entertaining for us all. But
for the first time ever.
Isn't that why none of us are wearing clothes?
That's wait, what?
Oh, that was just me?
I missed that memo.
Wayne, turn your camera off, mate.
Sorry. I thought the Mo would hide everything, but it's not happening. Look, there's definitely some things. I think, obviously the lockout season is the biggest asterisk season we've had, and I think this would probably, if we do have a season back, I think this is more so an asterisk situation, because it's like, I've got a feeling if we do go back, some players aren't going to play, obviously, and fair enough. But it's like there were some things I was really looking forward to this season before it all. We all got shut down. It was just like what was that? Was that your chair?
Did somebody fall off a chair?
Jesus.
I'm sitting in my gaming chair, but it's safe to say I've worn it out.
Jesus Christ, Vince. I thought someone was firing a machine gun.
Gaming chair with a bit of a wink. Is that the chair with the Vaseline and the tissues? The gaming chair? Hey?
Well, I gamed with Brendan Cunningham, so take that. You can take that however you want.
Oh my goodness.
Jesus.
Did you say Brendan Cunningham or Cumminghand? Sorry, Brendan. I don't know where they came from. I've been in isolation for a long time. Anyway, yeah.
It's fitting, like animal. It's fitting that Wayne works at a comic book store, because you've seen the type of guys who work at a comic book store. Live in a basement.
We got some creepers that shop with us, tell you. Won't go into names, but yeah. Look, there was some stuff I was really looking forward to this season. I was looking forward to, Vince Carter playing out the final year. I was interested to see if my Grizzlies were going to hold on to that 8th seed. I mean, we were looking good, but we still had games to go. I was actually really looking forward to seeing that first round of playoffs, Memphis versus the Lakers. I thought that would be a fun series. I had no expectation we would beat LA, obviously, but I just thought that'd be really fun.
No, man, the playoffs are the top 8 teams in each comp.
How dare you?
It would have been a good audition for Yamarin.
That's right.
To audition for the Lakers.
Oh, yeah.
You shut your dirty mouth. How dare you? Hey, you know what? We should get into what has been announced anyway by the NBA. We got NBA Disneyland going on. Very, very interesting.
It's the happiest place on earth.
Well, I don't know for how much longer, but yeah, obviously the league in a tight quarantine and busing 22 teams in over 3, I suppose, hotels, clubhouses, whatever you want to call them. And I will just say that, because I'm sure we'll get into the Kyrie Irving stuff a bit later and the Dwight Howard stuff a bit later, but I will say that it was voted unanimous by all 28 player reps. So there's that I think gets overlooked. But look, it sounds pretty enticing if you're a player and you've been locked up in COVID for a while. I mean, I get the whole, being away from your family and stuff like that. That's hard, but I mean, I just want to look at the perks with you guys, because players lounge with NBA 2K and barbers and gambling and etc. You've got a 24-hour VIP concierge, movie screenings and DJs, access to all the games, so you can literally go watch any game you want. The big one, no testing for weed. No testing for the old recreational drugs.
God, how hard is J.R. Smith going to be bloody pining for a 10-day?
I didn't even think of that.
I reckon that's a recipe for disaster.
But Vince, I mean, really, if the players voted unanimously then for it, then we've got to just go with their unanimous decision.
God damn it. And I think we are due to kick off. I think the teams will play 3 pre-season games through July 22nd to the 29th. So, look, some thoughts.
Is that unanimous?
Unanimously. Some thoughts. Is this what you want?
Yeah.
It is. I want a championship, goddammit.
I'm fine with it. I think the asterisk is... I think it's flipped, and I think I've said this in a couple of forums, that if you win this season, you have overcome... You know, the separation of your team and your teammates and that cohesion through COVID. You've overcome, I guess, the mental hurdles and challenges that are faced throughout what's going on right now over there. Like, you know, like a lockout is a lockout, and the season starts, and then the season isn't broken up. There's no breaks in between. There's no lack of continuum. Whereas this has been a real clusterfuck of the season. Like, I think if your team can bring it back in and back together, and fitness-wise and mentally, man, I reckon this is a good asterisk to have next to your championship. So I'm all for it. I just can't imagine that they're just going to be in this world where they can go and do whatever they want and have barbers and DJs, and it's going to be friggin' weird. But man, if it gets the league back, do it.
This is uni on steroids. This is what this is.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so maybe not so good.
Holy moly.
The thing with the asterisks, it's like the Rookie of the Year award. After a while, no one remembers it. Like the Spurs championship in '99, no one says, it's an asterisk. It's like, yeah, Spurs won the title. Same thing.
We only bring that up when we're talking Knicks, right?
Oh, yeah. And look, the only people who, if the Lakers win, hypothetically, if the Lakers win this season, you know the only people talking about the asterisks are the Boston fans.
Oh, zing!
They are, because they're you know, they've won more championships than anybody else. We get one more, we chip away, and they don't want to be hearing it. So,
well, if we get one more, we equal them.
Yeah, if we get 17, we're there. Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah. Oh, do you want me to give you the breakdown of what teams are staying where?
Well, I couldn't give a stuff, but if you want it, go for it.
Well, you know what? Maybe I won't do that. You can look at that online. But I will say this is, you know, silver lining to everything that's happened this year. Like, I know, like, past shows, we've definitely talked about it. It's been brought up in the media about them changing formats. I think this is the best time to experiment with that. If it is kind of like a bit of a throwaway season, an asterisk season, if you will, this is the best like chance you can have to test out what just taking the best 22 teams is going to look like.
Why do we need to change the format?
They'll still be doing traditional top 8, 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, etc., won't they, though?
Oh, will they?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything. I think it's just... No, am I wrong?
I don't know. I'm not sure now. This season, my goodness.
Yeah, but you're talking when things get back to normal.
Well, look,
stage.
I'm just saying.
You're talking about changing the playoff
format
setup.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, this would be the best opportunity to give it a trial run.
Let's leave it, mate. If anything's proven, fans hate it when you tinker with the game too much, and it's happened here in the AFL. Don't mess with the game. The only thing I'd go back to doing is the first round of the playoffs, 5 games. Keep the rest as it is. Like, fans do not like management tinkering with the rules and the game. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I'm not. Yeah, I'd be pretty cool with a 5-game first round. I do like of all the rule changes and tweaks and things we've had. I like the 14-second restart on the shot clock.
I do like that.
Okay.
The game is quicker. It is a quickie. It's a better game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you there. That's a good one.
But yeah, I don't know, with everything that's going on and the conditioning and the cohesion and everything else, I don't know if I'd be throwing in some loopholes with the playoff seeding just yet. I might be wrong. Anybody listening, we'll double check. We'll put up the links. But I still had a feeling that they were going to stick with East and West top 8s.
Oh, you're probably right. I just kind of feel like the players that do decide to play, I think they'll actually become like a tighter unit because of all this.
Dude, they're all playing.
Do you know what I mean? It's like they're going to be hanging out every day. Like, I know it's not going to be all, and I know there's going to be obviously this conscious of what's going on right now in the outside world, but I mean, it is a bit of a unique situation. I think I just kind of feel like as a league we'll pull together. Do you know what I mean? So,
yeah, no, I totally agree. But I also think the loudest voice is the voice that doesn't really have any skin in the game. And again, we'll talk about him, I'm sure. But Kyrie isn't going to be playing in this Disneyland comp thing. He's done for the season.
Okay.
And it's just funny, I think, the loudest voice is actually not going to be affected by this either way.
Let's talk about it, shall we? Let's just get it out of the way, because he was all in on Disneyland until he realised he wasn't going to Disneyland. And look, I'm sure everyone's read the reports and whatnot. I mean, you know, why did he leave the Nets group chat if he didn't say what he said? Why did he leave after it was reported, but it was fake news in his, you know, like he's not the first player to come up with that either. Like, he's not the first player to suggest starting their own league. But I mean, I don't think he's thought that idea through. Like, how's he going to fund it? How's he going to, like, is he running it? Like, Jesus Christ, like, I'm sorry, but I am totally burnt out with Kyrie Irving. He is living in his own flat planet. I honestly, like, I've said this to you guys in the chat. I've said it weeks ago in the chat. Also, it's like, I'm actually like concerned for his mental state. I think there's something wrong.
Man, I'll tell you, like, I'm a huge Kyrie Irving fan. Like after I stopped wearing Kobe kicks, I've been wearing Kyrie's since, you know, as a player. Like, I love his handles. I will to the death, I will say that I've never seen a professional player with handles like him. I just, people ragged on him. I've been in his corner, and it's getting hard because, seriously, shit that's coming out of his mouth at the moment, it's conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat stuff. It's next level.
What has he proven? What has he really proven? He alienated himself out of Cleveland, forced his way to Boston. You can't tell. I don't care what they say about Kyrie Irving now. We all know what happened in Boston, and I know they changed their tune because they keep it professional. And Jalen Brown, sorry, he can't go back on, you know, how pissed he was at Irving for throwing all those young guys and the rookies under the bus. He alienated himself out of Boston, forced his way out of Boston. Now he did the bitch move during All-Star Weekend to team up with Durant to get each other to Brooklyn, and all was fine and riding high until Durant goes down. He's already gotten the coach fucking fired. Like, give me a spell. The last person I'm taking any advice from right now is Kyrie Irving, because I tell you what, he's in it for himself. Matt Barnes called him out on his BS. Stephen Jackson.
It's going to get worse, man.
Dude,
it's going to get worse.
Kendrick Perkins, like, I am not even a big Perk fan and find him at times a bit, like, hard to listen to. But as far as his take on Kyrie Irving goes, I'm with him 100%. I'm just fed up with the guy.
I'm right with you, I know. There's something wrong upstairs with Kyrie. I don't mean to sound harsh, but like, I don't know, is he bipolar or something? I don't know. He's just a weird unit. Can ball out of his brain, but an absolute weird unit.
Can I tell you the future?
You're right. I don't know which one of you said it, but you're right. He has not thought this through.
No.
And I saw one dude on Twitter say Kyrie's going to set up a hoop on one end of the flat world and a hoop on the other end of the flat world, not the east and west.
Do you want me to tell you
It's just insane.
Can I put my Nostradamus hat on and predict a bit of future for you?
Yeah, Nostradamus.
Nostradamus? I don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
Irving wins nothing in Brooklyn, bounces from Brooklyn.
Jeez, Wayne, go out on a limb, why don't you?
Wait till we're another season down. I mean, this is the other thing. Actually, I'll jump into that after. But he's not winning even with Durant in Brooklyn. They're not winning. I don't care.
No,
you can't convince me otherwise. They're not going to win anything. At the moment,
unless there's some master plan that we don't know about, there's a coach waiting in the wings and there's free agent X about to come. And look, the way that they all bloody talk, there might be, but at the moment, they're not. You're right.
Dude, he's not winning anything, and wait till he starts alienating the players. He already did it at the end of the last year. He already did it midway through this season.
Yeah, he already started calling out his fucking teammates, saying, this roster isn't the winning roster.
What a fuckwit of a guy. As if you're not one of the guys who didn't get mentioned and going, well, fuck this guy. Why am I giving 110% on the court if that's the way you really feel?
Oh, dude, and you know that Spencer Dinwiddie is well aware of how much of a nut job Kyrie is.
Dude.
He's trying to go fund me a contract out of there. Vince,
I think you said it at the start of the year. You were like, Kyrie Irving going to Brooklyn. Watch. You said something along the lines of it's going to be a shame because Spencer is having such a good year, and watch what happens to him through the year. He's going to drop right off.
Yeah, I did say that. Yeah.
Man. Anyway,
see, every now and then I'll come out with something good.
Some gold. There you go. Pat on the back.
Thanks, man.
Awesome. All about support here. We're all about support.
And you know what? I think it's important to say that, we're not against people who have free thought or don't toe the company line. It's not that. We're not saying that the league and its players need to be sheep and that you can't have, individual thoughts. But there are individual thoughts, and then there are just thinking that the world is against you and the world is flat, and that that you can start your own league. And it's alienating him. And when the old heads start calling you out, and there's a lot of them doing it, it's just going to breed the jeers from within the circle. And I'm telling you, he's going to be on an island soon.
He can't handle the press riding him. That's what he can't handle. He can't handle anyone pointing the finger at him. It's all fine when you're winning, but when shit's hit the fan, when the pressure's on, I mean, my goodness.
He's not a leader.
He's not.
No. He thinks he is, but he wouldn't have the first. He wouldn't have any idea how to be a leader.
Yeah.
People take shots at LeBron, but there are guys who would take a bullet for LeBron. Players do follow him. They take his lead.
Pat Bev. Do you Pat Beverly's tweet yesterday?
Refresh me.
This is an arch nemesis. They get in each other's face when on the court. They are like dogs at a bone. And then there's the LA beef. And Pat Bev just came out yesterday and said, dude, if King James says we're playing basketball, we are playing basketball. Mm-hmm. We're doing it together, but we're following that dude's lead. That's your biggest adversary respects you that much, and that will never be Kyrie.
Well, is that another aspect of this? Is Kyrie sort of envious or pissed off? I'm not sure the right word is that sort of LeBron's leading this thing and everyone's following, and he's not liking it. It's
that's an interesting element.
So he's like, "Fuck this, we should start our own league. Hey, come with me, guys." I don't know. It's just.
That's an interesting take, man.
Yeah, I mean,
he just comes across as a guy who would think that.
He's not organising. Sorry, I guess you.
Shut up, Wayne.
No, I was just going to say, like, it's very, like, a lot of people are referencing Ice Cube's Big Three League and saying, like, you can start a league. And let's not forget that, like, they do that with the graces of Madison Square Garden and a couple other stadiums that allow them to play with cheap stadium rent and things like that. So it's on the back of favours because they want it to grow and they want it to be a thing.
And it took Cube years to get that off the ground.
Yeah, years to get off the ground. Cube fronted up a shit ton of his own money. He's also got investors, like billionaire investors, billionaire white, like old South African Jew money investors, and that is what it is. Like, I'm not being racist or categorizing people. That factually is what it is. Yeah. That have invested in this thing, and Kyrie's naive to think that he's just going to be able to afford to build these stadiums so he can have this self-sufficient utopian league. No, he's going to have to use existing stadiums which were built by the man and are owned by the man, and he can't. He would be far better off, as I said earlier, doing what he can within the league, within the parameters, and building a legacy and helping out his community and having generational change than trying to be this fucking upstart with all these smart-ass ideas. None of them are practical. Yep. 100%. Just does make me.
I don't feel like he's contributing at all, do you know? Like, I just don't... And I mean, I don't even think I can sit here right now talking to you guys and even tell you with confidence that, well, at least he's doing it with best intentions. Because I don't feel that way at all.
No, I agree.
Like, it's one thing if he's, saying random stuff and it's like, well, he means well. The thought is there, but it's not thought. It's like, no, it hasn't been like that way with Irving for a while now. And look, it's a shame.
He's earned over $100 million, right, in his career. Earned a shitload more with endorsements.
Hand it back, Irving.
Why doesn't he open up his own I Promise school or something similar? Give kids kids an education that more normally wouldn't get it and go to college. Do something like that, like LeBron's doing. And Jordan's got $100 million. He's donated somewhere, which I can't remember where. But do something like that. Do something.
Yeah, and exactly. And the only reason he gets to have this privilege of his and spout these radical ideas is because, as you just said, he has $150, $200 million in the bank. And how did he get that? From sponsorships, from ownerships, from management, from it's like he just doesn't appreciate the irony that he only has this pedestal because of the system that he admonishes. Like, it's like, dude, like, come on, man. Like, you can't. If you don't have any of that, then you're just Kyrie Irving from Melbourne, for Christ's sake, and nobody knows who you are. Like, it's like this rich privilege. I don't know. I hate it.
Here's my thing with it. Here's my take with his comments, right? So my thing is with this, like, it's not as if he's talking about the baseball league or the NFL. Do you know what I mean? Like, some pretty messed up fucking leagues. Like, you talk about the NBA, which have been really good to their players, like I mentioned before. But what he said about starting, come start a new league. Let's start a new league. Like way to piss on the feet of all those players before you that had to battle through it. Your Bill Russells. Your Chamberlain. Do you know what I mean? Like, all those guys who fucking went through it. Like, fucking, if you watch the Bill Russell doco, man, the shit that guy went through. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, and Bill Russell was still an activist. He was the first black NBA coach, the first player coach in the league. He was at the Martin Luther King speech. Do you know what I mean? He was there. He was present. You don't need to disregard everything that, like no wonder the older heads get so mad. Do you know what I mean? Like, no wonder.
Yeah.
Just, I can't talk about him anymore. I can't.
No, you're right though. Like in terms of historical, oppression and things like that. Like, yeah, he really doesn't get it like those guys do. And those guys respect the league and respect the moves that it's made and the progress that it's making and the good that it does. And if they can, who the fuck is Kyrie to sit there spouting this nonsense? And it is. It's like it's. I think Vince said it before. Like it's just disruptive for the sake of being disruptive.
Yeah. I mean, they
And,
pay.
I go back to what Stu said before. You in 5, maybe 10 years, you're going to see more black owners. You're going to see more black general managers.
Yeah.
More coaches.
And it's not.
It's going to happen.
I think the thing. Oh, sorry.
These guys are earning. Like, you telling me LeBron's not going to be an owner? He's already said he wants to be an owner. Kevin Garnett will own a team. He's already said he wants to own a team. Kobe Bryant would have been an owner. I've got no doubt. Magic Johnson owns a baseball team.
Mate,
like it's turning.
Give it
really is.
Give it 5 years, and guarantee KG will have his hand in the pie.
Yeah.
I think.
I love it. Like
I think the thing that annoys me the most, Vince, though, is that his narrative seems to be us versus them. When that's not the case, it's about having the same opportunity.
Yeah.
It's about not being knocked back for that opportunity because you're black, because you're of different ethnic background. Do you know what I mean? It's the equal opportunity. It's like if you're the best person for the job, regardless of race or colour, that job should be yours, not held back because of it.
Yeah, or even sex. I mean, we've seen, Becky Hammond's on Pop staff, and she'll be a head coach eventually. I know that in my mind, and that will open the door for more ex-players and, WNBA players to get more roles into the NBA. And it's not just, cultural and, racial diversity. It goes a whole lot deeper than that. But again, like, far out, if you're going to be in any league, in any professional sport on the planet, the NBA is your benchmark of best practice right now. And yet, could it get better? Yeah, and it will. But, man, you could be in fucking worse leagues in the NBA. I think 7 out of 30 head coaches are African-American. That's proportionately the best on the planet.
Mm-hmm. And that's only going to improve. That's only going to improve, like Vince said. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a... it's...
Look, and I'm not for quotas. I don't think we can all be happy when it's 15 and 15 because then how do we get women? And so is it 10 black coaches, 10 white coaches, and 10 women coaches? I'm not about quotas, like Wayne just said. As long as it's the best person, nobody is held back because of A, B, or C, then you can't ask for more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whew, gentlemen.
Can I just
of course
change the pivot for a second?
I think the three of us would unanimously agree to do that.
Your Illawarra Hawks.
Oh, yeah.
The Australian League, they're in some, because of COVID-19, they were in a bit of financial strife. The licence handed back to the league. They've been bought by a group led by Brian Colangelo, which is, to me, bloody exciting.
Pretty cool.
Are you unanimous in that?
Oh, I think it's great.
I think it's great. I don't know if it's. I don't think they have any majority holding. I think they've just bought in.
Yeah.
Well,
look,
I like it because he's loaded.
I know. Well,
they're all loaded.
He's a big international guy.
It's safe to say Illawarra's money problems are over.
Yeah. Look, Vince.
Shut up, Wayne, for a moment.
Spit it out, Germano.
Well, if you'd stop fucking interrupting, you twat. They've got some seriously connections to good players. Like, I'm excited. I really am. I love the NBL.
I'm good now.
Go, Wayne. You were bloody interrupting. Now you're
biting at the bit, chomping at the bit. I was. No, I was just going to say, look, he's obviously has a big international presence, and I think once the league's back on its feet and Hawks are a bit more stable, I think having him, at least having his hand in the pie, is going to open a lot more doors for Aussies anyway.
Yeah, I think it's seeming like a constant stream of American ex-players or, GMs or VPs or whatever it might be, but we're obviously very much on their radar, not from just a talent pool perspective, but also, as our population grows. You've got to remember, we're still a pretty small country, but we're growing quite rapidly. I think they're trying to get in early on what could be a very big league and a very profitable league, which is great for us. It means that our domestic product is obviously on the rise, and that we're getting eyeballs from across the planet who are noticing it. So I think it's a great thing, but it's going to be interesting to see how much ownership the league dictates must remain domestic, because it's like every other month we're hearing about some ex-player or some American wanting to spend money over here.
Yeah.
Hey, if I'm running this league and there are guys worth millions upon millions of dollars who want to buy a team, go for it, because there are a lot of Aussie owners who own their own teams, and the teams just went to shit.
So sat on the hands. Yeah.
So, and look, before this pandemic, teams were making money. Like, stadiums were full everywhere.
There's so many weird factors that are going to come into play in the next sort of 12 to 24 months when the NCAA starts paying players for their rights. Does it entice them to stay and not do the one and dones? Or then you've got Silvers dropping the league, the age level, and you don't have to go to college anymore. So are we going to see an influx of high schoolers? Or a team's going to draft players and then park them in leagues like the NBL or the G to upskill them before they bring them in? There's going to be so many different dynamics. These guys are obviously investing in the NBL because they think we're still going to be a part of the NBA. But to what degree, if that bar gets lowered and university one and done isn't a necessity anymore because Silver wants the product in his league? He's a smart dude, and he's hyper aware of the fact that the NBLs of the world and the European leagues of the world and the Chinas of the world and now the NCAA all want his product, and he wants it before they get it or before it's broken. So there's so many things that are going to come into play soon, and it's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
Well, NBL teams have to find a way to pay, that Future Stars program they've got.
Yeah.
They're going to have to find a way to pay those guys. You can't pay them any less than $1 million. Like, you really can't, because the G Leagues up their pay.
Yeah.
Europe pay their players pretty well. So we're going to have to, and that's why I like guys like Colangelo, investing in a team, and Sean Marion owning a team, and Zebo and Kevin Martin with the Bullets. Like, we need that to attract better players.
The best thing the league's done is, and I remember, being young, watching the NBL, it always felt like the NBL not rejected the NBA, but refused to almost have anything to do with them. And it's just so refreshing that now they're almost working side by side with the NBA. That's why we lost the league for a while there.
Yeah, that was Malcolm Speed.
We tried to, which weirdly, we thought we were better than, we had this beautiful blueprint in front of us, and we went, nah, like a proven blueprint of what to do, and we went, nah, sorry.
Yeah, that was Malcolm Speed when he was running the NBA.
Yeah,
he was an absolute tosspot.
And that's why we lost the league, man. He wanted
to get away from the American imports.
Yeah. So it's just
it's
super
crazy.
refreshing.
Like you just said, there's a blueprint. There's a great league, and if we can do these crossover games where we fly over and we do more promotion with them, why the hell wouldn't you do that?
Yeah, that's it. Look, we've survived a lot with this show over the years. Vince always quick to bring up that we were the only podcast to get through the lockout.
I am fucking proud of that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. So I want to get through this season and bring more content out to all our lovely Courtside listeners out there. Thanks for joining us. Bit of a tough one tonight. Don't usually like being so political, but like I said at the top of the show, it was a necessary. So you can catch us at the website www.crtsde.podbean.com. Down there, guys, you'll find all the links to the show, to our Facebook page where we're on pretty regularly, chatting. A little bit quiet lately, but we'll get back to it. Down there, you'll find all links to the show, all our past episodes. Gentlemen, it's been emotional
And squeaky.
And purple.
Here it comes.
and purple.
Here it comes.